Okay, so here we are in a mid-July 2021. I'm actually crawling up the hill towards something called Brukkaros Crater, literally in the middle of Namibia. And if I stop talking, it's only because I'm concentrating on the boulders that I'm driving over, and I don't really want to damage one of my wheel rims like I did in Mozambique. So I'm about 11 kilometers out of the tiny town of Berseba. No diesel, no petrol. I've got enough water, so I didn't need to ask for the water. I've just had the Sinopharm first jab COVID vaccine. I'll be traveling hopefully all the way to China, and therefore I'm going to be asked for all these things at some stage, so I might as well get it over and done with. I'm 91 kilometers away from a town called Bethany. Bethany has the basics. It's got your water, it's got definitely got a nice camp place. I stayed there for one night. It was -1 degree Celsius last night. There was a cold wind blowing in from the Arctic, so there was a weather warning. I'm just going to crawl over this rather sharp rock. So because of the weather warning blowing in from the sea, I decided to stay in a camp place and not freeze to death. So as you can see, this is definitely 4x4 country. I'm in low range, I'm in first gear. I can feel the wheel slipping a bit, and that's because I've been a little bit naughty and not deflated my tires. I know this vehicle well enough at this stage to know the kind of terrain. It would be easier on me comfort wise, and it would be easier on the vehicle if I did deflate the tires, but it's fine at this stage. Most of it's pretty hard. The step up on the rocks aren't too big, sort of 30 centimeters the maximum. Slow down and just crawl up the rocks, but I have absolutely no idea where I'm heading towards, to be honest. This is a gravel path, as you can see, but on the Tracks for Africa software it just shows gravel road 4x4 required, and on the hard copy map it's too detailed, it's too close to ground level, as it were, for it to show up on a small road like this. So in front of me looks like a nice steep road. The wind is howling. It's 20 degrees Celsius, says the vehicle thermometer, but I can tell you, when you get out, that wind chill factor, it feels to be about 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. So from previous videos, I'm going to contradict myself. I talk a lot about tire pressure, tire preservation, wheel rim preservation, and deflating your vehicles. And I've always said the first thing to buy is a cheap tire deflator and a pretty decent tire gauge. And now I'm saying, hold on, I haven't decreased my tire pressure. It's not an excuse. It'll probably come across as an excuse in the video, but I do know the vehicle relatively well. I know what my weight is on the vehicle, and the road conditions I'm very comfortable with driving. Namibia is full of gravel roads, so the tires were deflated anyway. At cold, it was 2.4 in front and 2.6 at the back. And as I say, I'm carrying relatively close to the GVM of 2.9 tons. Oh, here comes a bit of a tricky spot. Let's do this nice and slowly. I don't want to destroy wheel rims and having to replace tires and wheels this nasty section. Bit of slip. Traction control button comes on with a slip. That's fine. If it gets any worse, I will stop and change tire pressure. Nasty piece of old concrete that's broken off. It's now quite sharp. I will try and go around. I am carrying a Bundutech rooftop tent on top of this vehicle. I drive a cab and a half, or some people refer to it as an extended cab. It is 70 kilograms. That's heavy. That's what is that, about 150 160 pounds on top of the vehicle. It does change the center of gravity. I have to be super careful going over some of these rocks, some of these angles. Sometimes the rocks and the road. Here's a nice big one. There we go. Shows you. It can tilt the vehicle over considerably, and even if I look at the owner's manual, it doesn't take into consideration something as large and something as heavy as a 70 kilogram rooftop tent. So I've got to be a bit careful. I'm going up slowly, but I've seen plenty of videos of guys rolling their vehicles going slowly. It's not the speed often that does it, it's the angle. And in fact, sometimes the speed will save you, because your centrifugal force will keep you on the ground, where slowly you haven't got that force. Think of a little bucket with a handle in your hand filled with water or filled with golf balls, tennis balls, and you swing that around in a full circle above your head. The slower you go, the balls or the water come out. But the faster you go, that centrifugal force, the force working against gravity, two forces are against each other, means that the bucket of water, the bucket of golf balls, the water stays in the bucket. But try and swing that bucket over your head very slowly, and you are certainly going to get covered in water, as it were. Okay, looks like I'm just going to be crawling up this hill for quite some time. So, a bit of an introduction to Brukkaros Crater, as it were, into the mountains. I will sign out now and give you some feedback when I load up this video. Chat soon.